Mailbag time here on the Broncos Breakdown. I'm answering the questions that our live audience asked during our live show, which airs every Tuesday at 3 o'clock Mountain Time. So if you have a question you want answered, tune into our next live show. Now, our first question comes in from a longtime viewer here, Garrett Ringy. Any word on Javonte Williams' return date? Javonte Williams was at a football camp with Pat Surtain and said he expects to be ready for training camp. Now, he did sort of water that down a little bit by saying, I expect to be back. I hope I'm back, but it's up to the team, meaning the team's not going to rush him back. If the trainers say he's not ready, this is not a Super Bowl Sunday scenario where they're going to toss him in there week one no matter what. My suspicion is Javonte Williams is trending in a great direction and might start the camp on the PUP list, but not for long. Sean Payton definitely said or expects he'll be ready to go for training camp, and that's a great sign. But when it comes to return day, you might see Williams play week one against the Raiders. I don't think he'll be the leading carry guy, right? I just don't think he's ready for that type of workload his first game back. It might take him a week or two to ramp up. Speaking of the devil, Javonte, 33, asking himself, will the Chiefs sweep the Broncos once again? I wish I could stand here and deliver like a Braveheart speech. I can't. Until Denver shows up in a game against Kansas City, anyone that tells you the Broncos are going to win, they're just full of it. I mean, that's harsh, but they're just, saying it because they want to believe it, not because they have any reason to believe it. So, will the Chiefs sweep the Broncos once again? Maybe. I'll tell you this much. Denver's going to win eventually. This unprecedented run can't go forever. I don't know when it's going to happen, but it will end. I hope it's this year, but I can't say confidently that it will be. Mountain Time, what's going on? As training camp nears, any rumblings on signing a running back like Kareem Hunt? There have been rumblings about Dalvin Cook. Not much rumblings about Kareem Hunt. I remember back, and this goes way back too, to the NFL Combine, Matthew Berry said that the Broncos should be a team to watch for Kareem Hunt, but we never really saw anything materialize. Now, Hunt last year for Cleveland, former NFL rushing leader in a single season, was not fantastic. Career low, 3.8 yards a carry. His receptions average was also a career low, if I recall. He was not much of a game changer. I'm not really a big fan of Kareem Hunt going into the season. If Denver gets word that Javonte Williams is going to miss an extended period of time, sure, add Kareem Hunt because he's probably better than this team's RB3. And if you want to go with the committee backfield, him and Samaje Perine would be a fun 1-2 punch until Williams returns. But I'm not in favor of adding Kareem Hunt if Javonte Williams is going to be healthy early on because I think Hunt is just a bit washed at this point. Now, whether it's Kareem Hunt or someone else, name a running back you would sign. Chime in for me down in the comment section below, whether it's Dalvin Cook. If I had to pick one, kind of like Leonard Fournette. Give me playoff Lenny. If you want to be successful in January, Leonard Fournette knows a thing or two about that. So give me Leonard Fournette of all the available free agent running backs. Malachi W. next up on the show. Do you think we will make the playoffs this year? The AFC is just so tough. If Denver was in the NFC West, yeah, I could easily see a path. And Sean Payton is going to turn things around, but you start counting out the 7 teams, and I don't think they're going to win the division. So if they're getting in, it's going to be through the wild card, and they'll be competing with the Chargers, with the Dolphins, the Jets, the Ravens, the Browns, the Steelers. I'm not quite sure if Denver is better than 3 of those 5 teams just yet. So for now, I've got the Broncos going 9-8. 9-8 got the Dolphins in last year, but I don't think they ultimately make the playoffs. That's just my honest opinion. Sean Walker, what are the biggest things you'll be watching for at training camp? Good question. For me, it's going to be a lot of health stuff, right? How does Tim Patrick and Javonte Williams look? As for training camp battles, does Lloyd Cushenberry look like a starting center, or could the 7th-round pick Alex Forsythe take that job? On the defensive side, how's Nick Bonito looking? Can we get a status check, a welfare check on Nick Bonito? Is he looking like a real NFL edge rusher, or is it going to be another redshirt season for him? So Nick Bonito will be a guy I have a close eye on. Secondary-wise, Could Riley Moss rival Damari Mathis for that CB2 job? That'll be a fun battle right there. I don't think Damari Mathis has cemented himself as this team's starting cornerback opposite Pat Surtain. And of course, I'm kind of burying the lead here, Russell Wilson. Like, all eyes are always going to be on Russell Wilson. But outside of that, those are some other things I'll be watching for at training camp. Sean, thank you so much for the question. Now, make sure to subscribe, by the way. Get free Broncos content here, no charge. And the beauty of it is, if you don't like the content, you can always unsubscribe later. That's how honest I am. So if you want free Broncos content, subscribe. Help us reach our next milestone, 14,300 subscribers. And if the content turns you off, just hit the unsub button. Raheem Brown, what's going on? Chance we get Hamler, Mims, and Judy on the field at once. Those are some speed demons right there, right? Hopefully, KJ Hamler can get back to that elusive speed he had coming out of Penn State. The chances, they're not low. Like, could you imagine how fun it would be if 1st and 10, week 1 against the Raiders, they line up 4 wide, Judy, Sutton, Hamler, and Mims, and just play Madden in 4 verts? I don't think this is crazy out of bounds. If I think about what a Sean Payton offense looks like, it's not a West Coast college football type offense where it's 4 verts. So if you want to have a bunch of well-rounded route runners on the field, this is probably not the best setup. But if you've got 3rd and 17 and you're going deep, these are the guys. Ducky God, what's going on? Do we trade for Stefan Diggs? No. I do think on an unrelated, like Denver's not going to get Stefan Diggs. I don't think that's likely at all. I do question the future of Stefan Diggs in Buffalo because there are some fractures in that relationship. And maybe a trade does happen, but I don't think it's going to be with the Broncos unless they kind of go with if the Bills become the Vikings of that trade, where they move on from Stefan Diggs to go get a first-round pick and reset just like Minnesota did, and they got Justin Jefferson. So maybe you could see, I'm not even really going to put it in the air, but a trade could look like Stefan Diggs for Judy and a pick. That way Sean Payton gets, a proven wide receiver and Buffalo resets a little bit, but this has a 0.1% chance of happening. Broncos fandom, what's going on? Any chance of trading for Danielle Hunter? I've got a bunch of trade questions in today's show. I think there is a chance. It's got more of a chance than Stefan Diggs. That much I'll say. Because Danielle Hunter, the last couple of seasons for the Vikings, when he's healthy, look at the numbers. You usually don't think of Danielle Hunter when it comes to top edge rushers in the NFL. I put up 14.5 sacks 2 straight seasons, 2018 and 2019. Now, unfortunately, he missed all of 2020. He missed a lot of 2021. And last year, he finally got back to playing a full season, and he had a casual 10.5 sack performance. So George Payton still knows a guy or two up in Minnesota, and if the Vikings don't want to give him a new contract extension, maybe Payton kind of bites the bullet and goes, my Nick Bonito pick is not working out well. My Randy Gregory contract is not looking too good right now. We still do not have a long-term edge rusher. And when you think about the building blocks of an NFL team, it's quarterback, left tackle, and defensive end. Those are the building blocks, right? Those are the cornerstone pieces. So if he thinks Danielle Hunter is a cornerstone piece for the next 4 or 5 seasons, that could lead to a trade. But for now, I think Denver's probably feeling pretty good about their committee edge rushing rotation with Baron Browning, Frank Clark, Bonito, Randy Gregory, and they're just going to hope that everyone can stay healthy. So what do you guys think? Will the Broncos make another trade after talking about Stefan Diggs and Danielle Hunter? We've learned that George Payton is not afraid to pick up the phone and make a deal. So what do we think? Before the season gets underway, will there be another trade in the Mile High City? Yes or no? Ernesto Siebert, what's going on? Should the Broncos look for another kicker, or are they happy with Fry? I think they should, and they will bring another kicker in for training camp. If Fry misses 1 kick in a preseason game, you can guarantee the next practice there will be 3 new kickers there. He's just so unproven. There has to be more competition that gets brought in. So keep in mind this year, their roster cutdowns are black and white. You go from 90-man to 53-man. There's no more 90 to 85 and 85 to 80. So there will be slow cuts just periodically throughout training camp, kind of like a rolling cut down. And in that situation, the moment Fry misses one kick, the 90th guy in the roster will get cut, and they'll bring in some more kickers and whatnot, or at least just bring him in for some tryouts. But I think they should and they will add more kickers. Ramon Rivera, what's going on, dude? Even if Josey Jewell doesn't get traded, do you think Drew Sanders could still take his job if he doesn't play as good as we would want him to? Yeah, I would say that Josey Jewell is not, an unmovable piece on this defense. We can throw up his stats from last season. Jewell put up really good numbers in 2022. I think after Pat Surtain, he was the most consistent piece on this defense. He missed the first week of the season, but once he returned, he was a rock-solid piece in the middle of the field. 128 tackles, 7 tackles for loss. I'm very excited for Drew Sanders, but if Jewell and Singleton play well and don't get hurt, Drew Sanders might be a player that comes on for blitz packages and things like that and might not have a huge role and then take over from Josey Jewell because he's a free agent after this season. We have some more questions to get to in just a moment, but we have an awesome deal going on with Fanatics where you can get this Broncos retro t-shirt on sale. Chatsports.com/DEN retro. Training camp is rolling around, so if you plan on going to training camp, do it in style. Rep a new Broncos t-shirt thanks to our friends at Fanatics. All the information you need is in the comments and the description of today's video. That dude, Mr. One, does anyone else feel like Greg Dulcich is going to get 1,000 yards this season? Because I do. Love the flow, love the hammies, the short shorts or something else, but I'm not quite there. And it's not because I don't think Greg Dulcich is a good player. I mean, the way he played in that first game against the Chargers last year, mouth-watering stuff for years to come. But I'm thinking about what this offense is going to look like. Sean Payton comes in, and he wants to change the way Hackett ran it. And Hackett had Russell Wilson and Brett Rippon throw the ball good enough to have the 16th most pass attempts in the NFL last year. I think that number is going to go up. And by up, I mean closer to 32, not 1. So if the pass attempts are going to go down, and you've already got Judy and Sutton and Patrick, there's only one football. That's a lot of mouths to feed. I just don't know if there'll be enough targets for Greg Dulcich to get to 1,000 yards. The talent level is there, but the role in this offense, unless he truly takes over and he looks like a new top 5 tight end and just emerges on the scene out of nowhere, I'm just not sure he's going to get enough volume to get to 1,000 yards. Plus, it's not easy for tight ends to get to 1,000 yards. Travis Kelce did last year. Kittle did not. Waller did not. Mark Andrews did not. Hawkinson did not. I think there was only one tight end who got to 1,000 yards last year. So it's just not an easy thing for tight ends to do. Jace Bear, what's going on? Do you think any of our receivers or tight ends will make the Pro Bowl, and who? Judy probably has the best shot at it. If Judy finishes, or excuse me, if Judy plays the 2023 season the way he finished the 2022 season, we're talking about a potential 1,300-yard receiver, 8 to 10 touchdowns. Those are Pro Bowl numbers right there. So Judy would be my pick. All right, summer hot takes time to get us through the dog days of the off season. We are filming today's mailbag on Tuesday, so the weather report for today said it would be 90 degrees, which gets us right on the cusp of that first take hot level take. So my first take hot take is the Broncos will go into Week 18 still in the playoff hunt. Sean Payton is just too good of a coach to have this team turtle up and not get themselves into the playoff mix or conversation at least. So last year we saw the Dolphins make the playoffs in the last moment of the season, right? Not all 7 AFC teams were tickets booked and punched and whatnot going into Week 18. I think Denver could still be in the mix and still be in the playoff hunt going into the last week of the season.